should I use for scheduling? What about Google Calendar? And so, Pat, the first question that I have for you is, what do you want the scheduling for? Is it to keep yourself on track? Is it to set up meetings with friends, with clients? Because I do have two suggestions. The first one, if it's more your Google Calendar is just for personal use and maybe to meet with clients, but you don't need a recording, then I would do Google Calendar. And I believe you can also pay for Google Calendar where you could get a recording. But Google Calendar is where I set up meetings with coworkers. It's where I have all of Eli's soccer schedule on there. I have when I drop him off, when I pick him up. What I like about Google Calendar is you can have things be different colors, so it's really fun to kind of color code, like these are my health activities, like weights or the gym, and then these are my, in orange, client meetings. Like I have that all mapped out. The second suggestion I have is to use Calendly, and the reason I started using Calendly, and I'll actually type that in the comments here. So the nice thing about Calendly is that you can create, if you pay, it does cost something, but I'm paying for it, and so I can actually create different types of meetings. So I can have a coffee chat, I can have a strategy session, I can have a spiritual direction session, a coaching session, and when you set up all the different types of meetings, you can then set your schedule for when you're available, and you can actually link it to Google Calendar so that it will not offer someone a time that you already have something on your calendar. So it's very smart that way. The other thing I love is that you can actually connect, I think it's PayPal and possibly Stripe, to Calendly. And so it's also a great thing if you have someone email you, hey, can I have a strategy session, or can we meet for you to help me on XYZ? I can literally send them a link, and then because I've set it up on the back end, they will go there, pick a time, and then they will actually check out and pay right there when they're doing it. So that's the way that I schedule coaching calls, spiritual direction calls, all of that. And it's so easy and intuitive both for me to set up and then for other people to use. So those are my top two suggestions, would be Google Calendar for personal use and meetings you don't need recorded, and then Calendly to set up other meetings. And I do also use Zoom. So Calendly, you can connect to Zoom, and then because I pay for Zoom, I'm able to record meetings. And just a super side note on Zoom, Zoom now has a bunch of apps that you can integrate with Zoom when you're using it. And for the last collective coffee chat, I actually used an app within Zoom that was called AI Reader. And so after our coffee chat, I actually got an email that has the notes of our meeting. And it literally said, like, here's who talked about what, here's the next steps people agreed to, and it was very detailed, very smart. So I just am so excited to be able to experiment even more with Zoom and some of these apps, because Zoom could be a great tool if you're recording a presentation or a workshop where you can now get transcripts, create a workbook, all of that. My entrepreneur brain just has a lot of fun with the possibilities. So those are my suggestions.